Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the second half of our first mission of Fate of the Quadrant. This is my my fate hack, inspired by Modiphius's Star Trek Adventures. It is neither Fate Core, nor condensed, nor accelerated, but some Frankenstein's monster of all of them. And we are playing under the auspices of the Open Hearth gaming community. If you don't know about the Open Hearth, please search Open Hearth Gaming Community and come find us, come play with us, because we have a rich catalogue of monthly games that we'd love to have you join. And in fact, if you'd like to try suck it and see, I think I'm right in saying that the weekend of the 12th of October.
No.
Oh, no.
It's the weekend of the 10th to 12th, the Friday through Sunday of November.
November. Damn it all. 10th onwards, the weekend in November. An open gaming weekend in which you can come and try playing with us, see if our play style and table culture suits you. We certainly think it's good. So come and look us up. We are playing with some safety tools today. We're playing with lines and veils, the X card. There is an open door in place, and we're using Stars and Wishes as a debrief tool at the end of the session. So with all that said, let us begin the second half of our two-session first mission. I think probably we cut to the USS Montgomery, a prototype based on the Nova class, screaming through warp, and the voiceover is Captain's Log Supplemental. The Montgomery is at Warp 7 in pursuit of the Pakled ship and the Federation's dilithium. I have ordered our guest quarters to be put back into service to accommodate Princess Terren and her husband, while two of my senior officers are sharing to free up quarters for Manager Et-Rah. The rescued miners are housed in cramped temporary berths in Cargo Bay 2. The wounded Pakled is in surgery, and the other two prisoners are in the brig awaiting interrogation. That is our opening, and I kind of want to see Lieutenant Koenig and Lieutenant 733T. Which one of you is moving into the other person's quarters? Who's the moving to make room for Manager Et-Rah?
Well, I mean, not wanting to pull rank, but clearly I do want to pull rank.
So Lieutenant Junior Grade Koenig is moving in. So what are you having to move 733T in order to make room? Oh, sorry, Koenig.
Oh no, Ventura, to make room. Go ahead.
What do you need to make room to make room for this? Because you know they brought the bunk in, but I'm just curious. What are you moving?
I think actually it's very little, and I think Koenig would be surprised when he enters of the Spartan nature of the quarters. Yeah, there's a sort of a self-repair booth, just in case I need to do any personal adjustments to myself. And I don't think there's anything that you could move me out of this quarter. And I think that could possibly, it's up to Koenig, think, why am I moving in here? She could have easily moved out.
Well, the flip side of that, Koenig, is then what kind of stuff are you bringing in?
I think it's very much the sort of classic Boimler with a big box. I've just got a box of stuff that I've brought with me. I mean, this ship is already kind of cramped as it is, and so I think I'm just carrying a miscellany of bits and bobs and pieces. It's mostly tech stuff, pieces of models and replicator codes and that kind of stuff.
And so, I mean, does this stuff stay in the box? Or do we see it? You know, how do you do you carefully disperse it? Do you empty it out on the table as a pile? What does this tell us about Koenig?
I think that Koenig, it does not expect us to be in it sharing quarters long, and so the box is kind of awkwardly at the end of the bunk. He's looked through it. He's going to leave it there, and maybe like curl himself up a little bit tighter so the box stays at the base of the bed. doesn't want to settle in here.
And in that slightly awkward silence, who breaks it? Or does it just not get broken?
No, I think 733T will turn around to Koenig when he is made his home, and I'll say, apart from race and gender, I believe this to be an optimal configuration of room partners. You're into science, I'm into engineering. I don't think it could have been any better.
That's an assessment, yes.
Always good to look on the positive side.
As you say, Lieutenant.
Please, in quarters, call me 733T.
Lieutenant, I think I will keep with the ranks if that is all right with you.
Of course, that is your prerogative.
Koenig, I can't help noticing that you have a relationship aspect called obsession with inorganic life. Given that's the case, I think it would be surprising if you didn't take this moment to say something that you think is really appropriate and 733T finds not necessarily so appropriate. I'm offering to compel that aspect.
Sure. This is interesting. I've been doing a lot of work on the crystalline entity and the Horta, both of which are unliving things, like yourself.
That is where you are wrong. My bodily makeup is only 20% inorganic. Please let me show you as I start removing various sort of patches and exposing flesh.
Can I see that piece?
The piece I've removed, of course you can.
And of course, my tricorder is out, and scanning it and stuff. No, the flesh, whatever, but the flesh, just and I think that's where the obsession comes in.
Give yourself a fate point.
I will do that.
Doctor, sickbay 1 has a secure surgery area, so it has a force shield, so it can be used for secure surgery, for either because it's infectious or because you don't want the person to run away. So I'm seeing you in sickbay 1 with the wounded Pakled. Flesh out the scene for me.
I think or Pakled is probably looking, covetously at just about everything that catches their eye. And I mean, everything that they look at, I will give a brief explanation of its function, and generally speaking, inquire as to what the Pakled lack.
Okay. Is this just making small talk, or are you wanting something from this conversation?
Well, I mean, I guess from my point of view, I'm making small talk with my patient, but as a first officer, I am interested in eliciting a little bit of motive, modus operandi out of these, let's call them pirates, for want of a better word.
Okay, so I think that is probably, it sounds like a soft approach, so I'm going to suggest that's insight. And I think that normally this would be against 3, but given that he's kind of on your surgery biobed, I think probably the challenge here is 2.
Okay. That sounds fair enough. I mean, not that I would abuse my position as a physician. So that is -2 on the dice. So that is 1 only. remind me, in this version of Fate, can I tag an aspect to get +2 successes?
You can.
Okay.
You can. It'll just cost you a fate point.
Yeah. So I think I know a little bit more about the Pakleds than most of the crew, just by dint of encyclopedic knowledge. And I think I rustle up some Pakledian tea as a restorative after, when they're starting to feel a little bit, I don't know, itchy in terms of being stuck in one place. So,
because humans are strange and aliens aren't any stranger after all.
Yeah. Everyone likes their cup of tea,
Yeah. So that turns fail into success, I think. -1 to +1.
Yep.
So on a success, you get an answer and answers to follow-up questions reflecting effect. So you get your answer. And in terms of what you find out is that from his point of view, this was a straightforward pickup. He was told that they were coming to get dilithium because they have a contract and going to trade it at Farius Prime.
And do I get a sense that this is what he's been told, and that he has no reason to disbelieve it? Okay.
Yes. Albeit you think that the way they went about it seems odd. It doesn't seem odd to him. It was ours. We came to get it. And then we got shot at.
Well, I believe the sequence of events was that exchange of fire was initiated by you or your fellow Pakleds.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that.
I mean, who do you think opened fire first of your number?
I don't know. I don't know. I was minding my own business and I got shot.
Indeed, you did.
Indeed, I did.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to examine your vacuum suit, as it seemed to hold up relatively well against the effects.
What have you done with my vacuum suit? That's my vacuum suit.
Well, we shall return it to you when you need it.
I could need it at any moment.
Unlikely, but if there is a atmospheric breach, these pods over here are designed to withstand just about anything.
Oh. I don't think you're going to get anything more out of him unless you've got more leverage to apply. I noticed that that Ensign Thabilic can be on guard duty as desired, if you want to.
I mean, that might do more harm than good, in which case, yes, let's.
Because Ensign Thabilic, that will?
I think maybe you've just seen the blue head and the red in the security uniform, maybe behind that sort of phased glass that we sort of see on Strange New Worlds, in the med bays. Obviously, this ship having no wildly consistent features from episode to episode. But yeah, and step inside as he starts talking about his suit and about how he needs it, and just hand on the phaser. Everything okay in here, Doctor? The prisoner's not giving you any trouble, is he?
No, Ensign. As we know, the Pakled are very concerned with their possessions and what they feel is rightfully theirs. And
everything in the galaxy is rightfully theirs. That's the problem, isn't it?
Well, I think we might believe that this Pakled's vacuum suit that we took off him to perform surgery was in fact his.
Well, I'm sure it was, but it's got that big hole in it from where I shot it.
I told you, says the Pakled.
Well, I
Indeed,
mean, maybe you could get a bear suit. We've got plenty hanging around, but what would you give us for it?
I will think about that.
Oh, you don't have
Because he
time.
looks down and he's kind of lying there in a gown. He's got nothing. You have all my things.
We don't have time for that. What about information?
Now, you are acting security chief at the moment, because though you're just an ensign, you have quite a lot of service, having transferred out of science. So, what approach are you taking with friend Pakled here in terms of negotiation?
I'm happy to have the doctor take over on any of those things if he wishes to. I think that he's a junior officer here. You know what I mean? I'm just coming in to sort of be the bad cop to the good cop of the doctor, I think, in this sense. But what do you think, Donna? What should we? I know that you've got a higher command, and I believe that in Alun's version of this fate, command might be the relevant skill here, ability to intimidate or coerce.
Command is bad
Yeah,
cop.
I mean,
Insight is good cop.
I would be happy for you to lead, and then maybe I can give you some advice. I have the insightful guidance stunt,
Cool. Okay.
which will give you a boost.
Cool. So let's go with Ensign Tavalic with his
Good cop or bad cop?
0 in command because he's not very good at it, but would. Yeah, I mean, security and tactical functions, I'm happy with it being command, it just being 0. I don't think Tavalic's a very skilled interrogator, you know?
Well, I tell you what, I will invoke, I've read about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I will compel that. So get a fate point, and you have to be bad cop.
Cool, I like it. How many stunts do they get? Specialism stunts, correct?
Yeah. So you have a specialism stunt that you could be choosing, which would be the security specialism.
The security specialism. Let's just see.
Because I think there is a stunt in there called bad cop somewhere.
Bad cop. You can use security instead of command to attack the target's command in order to coerce them into revealing information.
Well, so what do you know?
Effect, right, for this exact scene. Because I feel like Lieutenant Vate was, it helped being a psychic, right? But he was a very achieved manipulator. When he wasn't being such a do-gooder, goddammit. Anyways,
I think he was a little bit discombobulated, but that Pakled T has made all the difference. So your difficulty is 3.
Difficulty is 3. I can use security instead of command. I've just got an adapter for my work laptop, so I no longer have to split myself across 2 screens at this point. However, of course, that does mean I'm in the usual situation of not being able to roll my own dice. So would you like to roll the dice while I'm bringing it up on my phone for future rolls? And I will spend a fate point to invoke my stunt. I believe is the case, right?
You can do that afterwards.
Go ahead, Paul.
You can do that afterwards, Will. You don't have to spend the fate point now, unless it activates the stunt. If you want a bonus, do that afterwards.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's so I use security instead of command. I'm not sure if I have to invoke that before or after the roll.
No. You're using the stunt. It doesn't cost you a fate point. Job's a good one.
Okay, cool, sure. Do you want to roll for me then?
Okay, here we go. I don't get to roll the dice very often. Ooh, what a treat. Oh, -3. Sorry about that.
Well, I'd like to spend -3. The difficulty is 3. You said, right?
Yeah.
So at best, I could bring it up to a 3 with two fate points there. I think, because if I'm using security, that brings it to +1.
It does.
I could invoke. I've read about this sort of thing positively. Yeah. The manual has a chapter on this. Yeah, so I'll do that rather than faff around with a reroll or anything. So
spend that fate point down.
Cool, which brings
and
3 match.
It does indeed. So what's the core question you want answered?
I think the core question, and I just want to check in with Donna here. Is it, I think perhaps, who was their, what was their relationship on the inside? You know what I mean? Like, this seems like it was a stitch-up job, like somebody was involved on the, Farius 8B. And I want to make Pakled slip up enough to reveal something about that kind of relationship.
I think let's get there, because you've got 3 questions going, and if Donna chips in his advice and guidance, that could get to 5. So you can mine this Pakled. So I think that.
Who told you the dilithium was there?
Captain Febinod. We were going somewhere else, and then he got communication, and we discovered we had a contract.
With who?
With the miners.
The miners of Farius 8B.
8B. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All of them.
Whoever they are, it was a contract.
It must have been someone important.
I don't know. I think that is an honest answer, given where he is in the pecking order.
But you heard a name over the communications.
Manager.
Manager. That is a uniquely appropriate name.
That's a very big hat that they're wearing. By the way, Alan, the Pakleds appear a lot in lower decks. So yeah.
So I think that so far you've used 2 going on 3 questions.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Doctor, do you want to chip in that stunt to get maybe 2 good cop questions?
Yeah, so I got a question. So is Will using command but then substituting his value for security, or is he using security?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
He's using a command approach. He's using security instead of it.
Okay.
You're fine.
So yes, I guess teamwork. Let me remind myself about teamwork.
Makes the dream work.
Bottom line, if you chip in with a similar skill, you would normally get +1 or +1 on the dice, but your stunt gives you +2, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I will maybe start talking about, tangentially about the gash in the spacesuit, and how it really could have been so much worse. And I'm sure Tavilik rather will, touch that phaser again, as I mentioned the destructive power of our phasers versus their suits, and it's not a threat. I'm not threatening anyone, obviously, but
could this perhaps be? Because I think we've identified the manager right here. So we've identified what I think is like the conspiracy type question, right? I think future questions of fruit is the Pakled ship, where they're going, that sort of thing. And we're leaning like Tavilik towards going like touching that phaser and going, oh yeah, these bad boys, Federation gear, so much better than the Pakled's clump ships. I mean, one of those things couldn't stand a chance against the Montgomery.
We wouldn't like an entire ship to be destroyed because of a misunderstanding.
You're applying all the leverage in the world. What's the question?
What is the does this clump ship have any special feat? I'm trying to lure him into boasting about them or anything like that,
Yes, he does. Yes. No, we traded for you have no idea. We traded for new power supply and new power plant and new weapons. You will not find us easy.
And that's
one question left.
Should we ask about Farius Prime, where they're going?
Well, yeah, I think they're their destination is probably the best last question.
Mm-hmm. On
And
various.
where will we find you?
Yeah.
We will trade our dilithium at Farius High Station.
And they're expecting you, of course.
And I think you'll get the name Oisira. Station head Oisira is our partner, trading partner.
And Tvelic will go, okay, well, he'll lean over and he'll pat the Pakled thing and he'll go, I'll see about getting you that vac suit, buddy.
And my other things.
Well, we'll see. And yeah, and he'll share a look with the doctor and say, Manager Astra.
Well, I was slightly, how do we say, suspicious? Guarded about the insistence that they be evacuated first.
I don't know, Doc, but you may not be a security officer, but God damn it, you're a real good doctor.
And that, I think, is when the intercom across the ship reveals the captain saying, "Senior staff to my briefing room, please. Quick as you can, ladies and gentlemen."
Obviously, Tvelic, keeping an eye on this Pakled is important enough. Pack rats can't be allowed to scutter through corridors and tunnels and such.
I would love if, as the doctor, blinks out, right, Tvelic stands guard, and then we see him turn around to the Pakled and go, "Hey, get your hands out of there!" And then we cut away.
We were looking for moments of likeness. I think that counts. So cut to the briefing room up on deck one, where the captain is seeking advice. We will drop out of warp within the next few minutes, and views. And I think he'll go to number one first. Doctor?
Well, our interview of our Pakled patient has given us some vital information on where their ship is heading and to whom they will do a deal, as well as some worrying insights on the new weaponry, defensive systems, power systems that they have or may have acquired recently. I'm not sure how much weight to give to Pakled bluster.
Well, I think 733T, I think you might remember that there was a burst of polaron radiation when they managed to beam down despite your best efforts or your team's best efforts, which is not a common power technology. Any observations on that or questions do you think the captain might have for you?
I think it will require some further study, possibly with Koenig on ways to shield against that radiation source, or we just look at disabling it.
Koenig, thoughts?
If I'm going to go meta for a second. You have said that you got information that there was this manager transmission from the original planet, right, from the mining colony. So I think my response would be, it may give us some leverage now that I have confirmation from Doctor and that there is a communication from the planet to the Pakled ship. That should allow me to narrow that down in the logs and communication data that we took from the planet before we left. That may allow me to identify their inside person. And if they happen to be present on the ship right now, may give us some additional leverage.
I like that a lot, Koenig. Visal, any observations?
Manager Et-Rah has been identified by the Pakled. Whether this intelligence is true is, well, it remains logical that they have no reason to lie, or indeed the capability of doing so. We could coerce Manager Et-Rah and ensure that it is in his best interest to communicate some sort of message to the Pakled clump ship, perhaps that the dilithium that they have stolen is contaminated, delaying them long enough for us to catch up with them on the Montgomery.
With respect, we first need confirmatory evidence before we can really leverage them. It might be good if we had better insight on the manager. What has the ambassador said about manager?
The ambassador is, and I think his comm badge beeps as he says that, and he slaps it off. And for a moment, it looks like
swipe.
Yeah, because there's no way that meeting happens off screen.
Yeah, the ambassador has been most preoccupied with the personal matter. But I'm sure that
is your badge okay?
It is fine. It is simply undergoing some technical difficulties.
733T, or I could look at that.
Perhaps later.
Okay.
Enoch. But yes, if we are worried about the positronic capabilities of the clump ship, perhaps some sort of chaff may allow the Montgomery to, if we pump out radiation from the ship's warp core, it may screen us long enough for that they cannot use their capabilities against us. But
so what?
Excuse me, I may have a personal matter of my. I must go attend to this, I believe.
Yes, I'd prefer if you took that outside the room, Visal.
I will discuss with the ambassador whether or not they could be of use with dealing with Manager Et-Rah.
And you leave?
Yeah, as it goes, and then I think as he walks out, you hear the comms officer again going like, "Sir, it's your mother. She's quite insistent. She's evoking the Vulcan Accords of."
Very good. Engineering and science then will do some work on this Polaron. I'm not familiar with it as a weapon system, or not as a particularly efficient energy source, power system. So offer me some options on that, Koenig and Lieutenant Seven. What are we going to do? We'll be dropping out of warp in the next 5 to 10 minutes in orbit around Farius Prime. Approaches?
Well, might I suggest something, sir?
That's what you're here for, Doctor.
Well, indeed. Lieutenant Koenig is rightly concerned about having some kind of more firm ground on which to accuse the manager of the facility, and I would like to go speak with him and see if we can rustle the, I don't know. The idiom is escaping me right now. Rustle something up.
We'll do it quickly because I need to know what I'm saying to the Orions in 10 minutes.
Pakled, sir.
Well, we're dropping out in orbit around a planet controlled by the Orions. They're going to be interested in our arrival, Doc.
We're going to go straight to the buyer and convince them not to buy? I mean, that seems like a good idea, Captain.
No, that's where the warp trail for the Pakled ship has taken us. We're just following it to Farius Prime.
With your permission, sir, may I be excused to go through the comm logs ASAP?
Go to work. Seven?
I believe as soon as we drop out, we should hit them with a spread of photon torpedoes and stop them running.
Yes, well, that's the diplomatic incident I was looking for. When you've got a serious proposition for me, Seven, come back. Until then, stay away from our weapon systems. Doctor, go and see Et-Rah. Koenig, find me some options.
Sorry, I'll be saying to Lieutenant Koenig, like as we kind of break out of the meeting, to maybe feel free to communicate with me directly when you do discover something. I'll
Absolutely.
need a
I will.
breadcrumb trail.
Let me go and see what I can find, package it up to give you the edge in your negotiations, Doctor.
Very good, Lieutenant.
I'll be honest. I think that rushing down to communications. I think I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to take you more than 10 minutes to wade through those logs, but we'll see how that goes.
But we've narrowed it down. Like that's the reason I was saying, because I said we were looking at a thing. Now we've got,
fair point. Fair point.
Yeah.
And of course, there was a junior ensign working on the thing that Koenig goes like, ensign pushes out of the way, and the cross, takes over the work for that thing, right?
So Koenig, let's start
join
with you,
tables.
Whatever the Star Trek equivalent of VLOOKUP is.
VLOOKUP DB.
So I think this is
Ensign DBA.
I think this is science at work, because this is working the ship's computer. So
I am creating an advantage is what I'm doing.
Fine.
Yeah. So
I was going to make the difficulty 4. I think the fact you've narrowed it down turns the difficulty into 3.
Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and roll, subtracting the second die from the first die, order of operations. It is a 0. Plus 4 is a 4, so that will beat that.
You have created an advantage. You succeed, and with 1 free invoke on let's call it Et-Rah's com station. What you can find, I think, is Koenig, is that there was communication from the Pakled ship to Et-Rah's com station.
I would like to spend a fate point on my buddy, the EMH, to make that success a +3 to give the doctor 2 free invokes in his negotiation. Is that okay?
Fine.
Okay.
So what we have confirmed is that the com logs from the mine suggest that there was communication between the Pakled ship and Et-Rah's com station. 2 free invokes, Doctor.
So I realize time is tight, but I think we're going to talk a little bit at the start about the Pakled as customers. Is there any particular type of dilithium that they might have been looking for?
We've never supplied the Pakleds.
Oh, because
we undertook. We've committed to we've traded with the Orions previously, but the Federation made us a very good offer.
Indeed, and how then might they have thought that they had a contract with your facility?
I've no idea.
Could someone have abused your authority to make a deal with them?
That would be inconceivable.
But more conceivable is that you abused your authority?
Are you trying to work out whether he's telling lies here, Doctor? I'm just curious.
I am just curious. That is exactly what I am.
Because I think insight would be the relevant.
Yeah. I guess that would work for me.
I think difficulty is his command at 3.
Okay.
Do you want to find out if he's telling you the truth or not?
And
you have free invokes on the com station if you want to kind of leverage it.
Yeah, I think it's obviously where I'm heading, because we know there was a communication. So let's roll and see what we get. So it's a +2 on the dice, +3 insight, 5.
Success by 2.
Okay.
He gives every impression of telling the absolute truth.
do I maybe invoke the comm station that I've just been fed the details through of Koenig to like get a timestamp on the communication that went from the Pakleds to his own comm station and wonder exactly who might have betrayed him?
But that's my staff are entirely trustworthy. Are you accusing us of we undertook this arrangement with the Federation in good faith, and now I find that you're accusing my people of being criminal?
You are entirely correct, Manager. There must be someone who perhaps doesn't see things in or doesn't have your just worldview.
I mean, my deputy manager has access to my office when she needs it.
And she has your complete confidence.
Absolutely. Do you want to shake that confidence?
I mean, I don't know that we have the ammunition to shake that confidence.
I think that's probably true.
Beyond me, repeating my accusation. Let me have a look. Do I have? I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have anything pertinent here.
Well, let's leave that Et-Rah's comm station with one free invoke remaining, just sitting on the shelf for perhaps some later court case. Vassal, is now that, do you want to have a meeting with your mother, or do you want to leave that until later in the episode?
No. I think what have we established? That interrogation felt like it didn't really pin anybody down into anything, did it? We sort of ended up with perhaps ambiguity about whether or not it was Et-Rah or not.
Well, I mean, I think we're sure that it's not Et-Rah, right? And therefore, our prime suspect is Deputy Manager Saras.
Yeah,
even if we have no proof of it,
Deputy Manager Saras on this ship though, or wasn't he back on the because he wasn't part of the group we evacuated, was he?
No, she is still in charge of the mine.
In charge of the mine, right?
Because she's the Bolian who first contacted you, telling you that there was a breach in the dome.
Yeah. Okay. Just because going to the ambassador for their assistance in identifying the, I suppose I could get the ambassador to wield that diplomatic weight to say that unless these are very serious accusations, very serious evidence, and we can only go off the logs and blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm just making sure I know what the angle is before I go into that thing.
I'm not sure that this conversation is going to be about that.
Oh no, but that's what Vassal will want it to be about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vassal, you go to the guest quarters. They've normally been mothballed and used for storage. They've been brought back into service. What do we see? What's the look on Vassal's face as he, kind of hits the ding dong?
I think that as Vassal is going through the turbo and exits the turbo lift, an ensign comes running up and goes, Lieutenant Vassal, the ambassador requests you, and he's like, yes, I know. Okay, ensign, be about your duties. And I think just as he's about to do it, you see that Vulcan sort of look of equanimity just fade away for a brief second into a real kind of like.
I am prone to compel. Resistance is maybe illogical, but it's never futile. To have you walk away from that door and go straight to the bridge, ready to drop out a warp.
No. I will take.
Give me a fake point, and you can ring that bell.
Yeah. Steels himself. He rings the bell.
Enter.
And he enters. And And I think as he enters, he sees his mother and his father, I presume, right? The ambassador and I don't even know my own mother's name. Good Lord.
Teren.
Teren, yeah, NPCs. There we go. Princess Teren and Dijen, my estranged mother and father. And he looks at them, and for a brief second, he smiles to see them both safe. And then he goes, "Apologies, mother, father. I know you hate to see that."
Why have you come to see me? She says.
"Because you have been summoning me, mother."
And why have you come to see me?
"Because you have been very persistent in summoning me, mother."
And why have you responded to my summons?
"Because you are an ambassador for the Federation. An ambassador for the Federation who is of direct interest to the ship's mission. And therefore you have summoned me multiple times, and I must answer, both in my duties as a son and in my duties as a Starfleet officer."
That is all I needed to know. You may leave now.
And he looks for a second and he says, "And also because I wish to see my parents, and I wished to, despite whatever unpleasantness may occur, to see that they are well and that they are whole."
And she turns on her heel and moves to the other room, because there's a guest quarters, got a nice lounge area, bedroom, leaving your father, who looks at you and says, "You cannot know how disappointed we are in you."
"Disappointment would seem like an emotional response, father."
Disappointment is a description of a feeling. You are not wrong. But I am resorting to words I think you understand.
"I understand the words truly, father, and I can only say that I am disappointed in turn. The affection with which other species, other philosophies hold their parents and their family is, I feel, of greater merit than the simple tradition that binds together our own."
I had hoped that some time away may have changed you. I fear it has not.
"I'm afraid it has, father. Sadly, not in the way that you wished. Of course, it is only logical to have assumed that time further away from Vulcan and its logic, and its strict and cold and unthinking almost adherence logic, would only lead me further astray from the path of, I've forgotten the name of the Vulcan prophet. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I nearly said Sarek again.
If in doubt. It's gone. It'll come back to me when I least expect it.
Correct.
Correct.
I had hoped that you would spend some time away and come to realize what you had lost.
I'm afraid I can only see what I have gained, father. I am, however, and you may not appreciate this either, truly sorry for what you have lost and for what mother has lost. But if logic remains your guiding principle, then I would ask that you hear my request. The captain has need of the help of the Federation's negotiator, and he will. I'm happy to cut away and leave that there if you wish.
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
And I guess then we cut back to the bridge as you are dropping out of warp. 733T, where are you? Are you beavering away in engineering or something, or are you on the bridge?
I think I'll be on the bridge.
Okay, running ops. You drop out of warp. I've put a little picture of High Farius Prime on the ship's log tab. It's a very significant station in orbit above Farius Prime. Lots of traffic coming and going, lots of berths. What do you do? Maybe Koenig, start with you. What's your standard practice on arriving at a habited planet like this?
We know that this was set up. Somebody contacted to take the Orions, so like someone anticipated this. They knew the schedule. They knew this shit was going to go down. That's my meta on this. So what I am doing is I am scanning to see if there are any vessels when we come out of warp that are particularly ready, prepared, or in a position to respond to us, like unusually so.
Okay. I guess that is conduct a sensor sweep.
Sure.
Or analyze a hazard, threat, or unknown phenomenon. What's your preference?
Ooh.
One of
Actually,
them
the
tells you
latter.
something. Okay.
Let's analyze the threat.
When you use the ship's computer to analyze sensor data, use computers to create an advantage. This is interesting against a difficulty of 2 + 2 per situation aspect. I think I'm going to make this 2 plus another 2 for 4, simply because there is so much traffic going here.
Okay. Is this science? Is this security? Is this insight?
It's computers. So it's ship's computers, which I will reveal.
Oh, that's right.
Top. Yeah. So
I
bridge actions, not entirely, but often revolve around the ship systems. So computer is 3.
Okay. So let's go ahead and roll with that 3 and see what happens. So that is a 4 + 3 is a 7.
That's -4 on the dice, isn't it?
Oh, you're right. It is. My brain got that completely wrong. Let's
The triumph of hope over expectation.
absolutely. Well, you can't live if you don't survive, he said, spending that fate point to reroll.
Go ahead.
So that's a 3.
There you
Plus
go.
3 is a 6.
So success by 2. You've created an advantage. And what is interesting here is that there are a couple of Orion ships who are not docked.
And I'll pass that on. Yeah, I'll do that thing where I sweep it over to 733T's terminal, and I'll say, Lieutenant, we've got 2 Orion ships in a ready position in orbit. It looks like they were waiting for us.
Excellent.
Whether they're waiting for you or
they're waiting.
let's put them in
anticipating the situation.
Yeah, were a situation to arrive, they would have anticipated it. And that's when the station hails the Montgomery, and an Orion woman appears on screen and says, "I am station head Osira. We were not expecting a visit from the Federation. Why are you here?" And that's where the commercial break kicks in.
Nice.
So it is just before. Shall we be back in our seats? Let's have 10 minutes for the first one. So back in our seats at 5 past the hour. Yeah. See you then. Recording. And we come back after our commercial break to discover I've added her to the NPC tab. We now have station head Osira, head of Farius High Station, who was named by the injured Pakled as being somehow conceivably in contact with the Pakled ship, on the screen saying, "We weren't expecting you." What's the response from the ship? Who says what? Because we're not bothered with the line of command here. You tell me what the captain says. Vassal?
Vassal, having taken over from the ensign just as we came out of warp, I think, screen and says, "This is the USS Montgomery, and we're here to retrieve stolen goods."
"Do you leave?" says Osira. I can't imagine why you would come to us for that.
We have sensor logs, extensive evidence of a Pakled clump ship. And I will nod to one of the ensigns, to who is our chief operator, like who's on the bridge with us here? Who would do it?
733 is your ops. You know,
Yeah.
that's comms, engineering, the whole shebang.
Like maybe you do a scan to confirm that the Pakled clump ship is here, perhaps, or like.
If you ask, she'll tell you. We have a Pakled ship. Captain Febinod's ship is docked here. I don't quite understand what that has to do with you, Montgomery.
They attacked our crew members, and they caused extensive damage to the mining facility on Farius 8B.
Oh, you're that ship. I understand. No, Captain Febinod has in fact filed charges against you for the attempted theft of his or obstruction of him collecting his dilithium consignment.
Oh, well, the captain, if he wishes to present his paperwork, I'm sure we can get this all settled.
And I think probably Commander Prell kind of just does that to cut the voice and looks around the bridge. 733T, any thoughts at this point about whether you're still keen on just a spread of torpedoes?
I'm always keen on a spread of torpedoes. Well, I think we've got very little.
We had no leverage to
line
begin
of
with.
actions. I don't.
How are you going to get around this obstacle, I think, is the question I'm asking you. What would the crew of a Star Trek do at this point?
Well, for one, I believe that the Osira seems quite willing to go to arbitration, so long as we can ensure that it progresses at a quicker pace than or Frontier can manage. I imagine the Pakleds will want to get paid quickly.
And I think Commander Prell will look at you, Doctor, and say, go for it.
Episode
back in the big chair.
We could do arbitration public, like our hand is, we're Starfleet, we want our stuff, right? We get them involved in arbitration. Now, what if there are two contracts signed with the Federation and one signed with the Pakleds, then both are null and void, which the Orions will probably take as well. They're anyone's, finders keepers with the Orions. But that means that we could send away across a small secret away team to do a Uno reverse flip on the Pakled and steal it back. That's of interest to people, but obviously that takes us down a different route. I think we're at the meta stage of what do we want to do?
What do you want to do? Exactly so.
Exactly so. You need to analyze the mission briefing, retrieve the stolen dilithium without making things worse.
Yeah. I would like to I really want a montage of Koenig going through all the records, like pulling up people's ID tags and locations and all that stuff and trying to find some piece that proves who sent this contract, and getting that as our leverage for the illegality of this, or at least putting pressure on the person who did that.
So you want to contest the legality of this, and Koenig is going to try and find some evidence. Who's going to front this negotiation? Because Koenig is going to do the backroom work, sounds like. Who's going to be the front?
It's not Fasal, apparently. I mean, I guess it makes sense for it to be the Doctor if I'm number one, and I'm just loading up the legal routines right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, in terms of what we'd like, I would love to have a Vassal 733T covert mission to beam out the dilithium, regardless of how dubious that would be from a Federation point of view. I mean, is it piracy if we know that we own them, and or if the powers that be say, well, who owns them?
Here's the thing.
Come on.
Here's the other thing. They did not just take the dilithium. They took the facility. And at the very least, that is a wedge issue breach. And we could say that we were going to retrieve the facility pieces.
We get to have a Star Trek core episode as well as a
Well,
and I know I've shared that video of that bedraggled Starfleet legal officer, the JAG. Yeah.
We rarely see the JAG, but I think in the absence of a JAG, I think what I think I'm hearing is that there at least needs to be an attempt at arbitration to determine whether you can get this back. But Prell is keen to have a fallback.
I mean, both. But I mean, no matter how the arbitration works out, the successful heist at the end will be satisfying.
Exactly. So, number one, Mr. Koenig, I think you need to get down there and start making our case. Vassal, 733T, make your plans. We need our dilithium.
Yeah.
Manager Et-Rah knows nothing of any Pakled contract. This is all flannel. Comments, gentlemen.
Yeah, I believe that I think that I'd maintain, that the Et-Rah's a liar, basically, somebody, or that like he's not a liar so much as he's overplaying his hand in terms of like, I'm not even going to look at this accusation, how dare you, kind of thing, because this obviously took place, right? And we're trying to get back his facility as well at the same time. So I would enjoy that. And I was going to suggest, in terms of the heist, I'm up for beaming over and doing it. I just want to put out there that the Montgomery, its class of ship, has a special shuttle that is a atmospheric craft, and therefore doesn't have a warp core that would betray all of the usual things. And so could be maybe with a little bit of fictional framing, like a stealth ship type thing that one could take over and secretly dock with it thing, if you are a very good flyer,
I like it.
I think the 2E should be in like a flimsy worker bees, to be honest,
Yeah, the equivalent of one of those individual submarines on a torpedo. Yeah. 733, what are you thinking? Go on, Paul, tell me what you're interested in doing.
No, let's go over there. We got hollow belts.
You have prototype hollow belts. No, you haven't. Designed by, interestingly, a science officer on a called Graham, and Graham designed these using some of the technology behind the Doctor.
And we have complete scans of Pakleds in our medical database now.
You do. In fact, you have two prisoners in the brig that you can have very detailed scans of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from neither of us are good at talking through anything, so maybe just the guns ablaze approach might be the better one. We'll go with the hollow belts. We can always resort to guns.
I think this is more an infiltration than a con. You know what I mean?
It's good to say you tried with the infiltration when,
of course,
things go badly wrong.
So what I think I'm seeing is the Doctor and Lieutenant Koenig shuttle or beam onto the station.
Do we need a? Go ahead, Lo.
I think I would say to you, I don't think we should take a shuttle because this is an Orion base. And no offense to the Orions, but I don't want them stripping our shuttle or claiming it for some other reason. We should be minimal on that.
I was only wondering if you needed somewhere secure to continue your research on the comms array.
I could take a specialty pad with me, so we don't have to do that. Are we taking the manager with us?
I mean, I think he is one of our star witnesses.
Absolutely, and he also can confirm on certain details. And I think that the bug, not literal bug, but the idea that we need to put in his ear is that someone from among his staff has what is the colloquialism? Screwed him over.
Well, I mean, also, if he did a deal with the Pakled, I mean, I want to
That's
see.
dumb.
I want to see the look between these conspirators.
So,
So,
Et-Rah,
yeah.
Keenick, the doctor, station head Asira will provide you with the coordinates to beam across to her administrative center. And over you go. Visal 733T. What do we see in terms of the little montage of you prepping? I mean, is this in suits just kind of drifting over worker bees, or are you going to try to use the aero shuttle?
I was thinking we beam over as Pakleds.
Are they? Is this a prisoner exchange? Is this an act of goodwill?
No, because we're not going to. We can't pass ourselves off actually as the Pakleds. You know, as soon as somebody says something, as soon as somebody says something to you, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, hi, it's Joe. Are you Joe? I haven't got a clue who you are. We don't become the prisoners we've got.
We don't become the prisoners we've got, but what I'd like to suggest is that we do beam over the Pakled that we have captured as part of a
You
team.
got 3, 1 injured, 2 in the brig.
We beam those 3 over, and we use that beam opportunity to also beam ourselves to a separate location, you know, like in the masking of it kind of thing. Oh, sorry, Pakled clump ship, Federation technology is not as good as the Pakled clump ships. It's going to take us a while to lock down the pattern signatures. Just give us a second, you know, and as they beam into the desired location, we beam into what we've identified as like a utility closet or something, right? And just become worker bees, like we said, you know, like we're part of the cruise, you know. Probably with our vac suit, like in our hollow belts, with like vac suit helmets on top or some, you know.
You do have a couple of Pakled suits, of course.
Of course, yeah. So hollow belts with Pakled features, and then Pakled suits to sort of
over the top,
or the identity of said Pakled kind of thing.
Fine. So that sounds like comms and transporters ops from your bridge console. If there's an obstacle to using subspace or the communications or a transporter lock, difficulty would normally be 2. I think that this is quite a tricky one, so I'm going to make difficulty 4.
Okay.
Roll comms, ship comms to overcome 4, and I think comms is 3 currently.
I'm at +6.
Well, that goes very well. So where exactly, 733T, where do we see you materialize? You know, just describe
right next to the dilithium. Winner, chicken dinner.
The trouble is that is stored in a kind of additional bolt-on. Because the thing about the clump ship is that they bolt stuff on this.
Right next to the bolt-on.
Somewhere on the ship. Fine, that's all I needed to know. Dr. Keenick with Et-Rah in.
Perhaps in a corridor, you know, we step out of like this storage supply closet, right? That's filled with all kinds of crap. like a batleth and blah blah blah, and all kinds of random things are in there. And it clangs, and we sort of like look around, and as we open the door, you can see like down this like crazy corridor of seamed together hull and everything like that. You can see a group of Pakleds finishing up the latest addition to their new clumpship of this facility. They've cut a big like makeshift airlock door into the mining facility thing that's there. Past that point, that works as a framing.
Okay. Doctor and Keenek, you beam over to the admin center where you're met by station head Osira, who is Sweetness and Light, is very pleased to meet you and would love to resolve this issue to the satisfaction of all.
Well, in that respects, I thank you, Osira. Can we be assured that the disputed dilithium will not be transported by the Pakleds until we are satisfied?
Captain Febernod is here with me. He assures me that his dilithium is aboard the ship, and I've obtained his guarantee that nothing untoward will happen to them.
Also mentioned the stolen infrastructure. The Pakleds did not simply take the dilithium, but wrenched the infrastructure off from base, causing an immense amount of damage. So that's I just want to put that into the logs for consideration, that needs to be returned, repaired, and recompensed.
So let's sit and discuss that, Lieutenant. And
I'll throw from my pad the bill for that section of the base.
Is this creating an advantage, or are you trying to begin the negotiation?
Oh, yeah. Let's just create a little advantage there. We've already got Et-Rah's comm station sitting out there as an advantage. Let's get another one on the table here.
The bill.
Okay.
I think that this is probably. I think this is insight, because this is, what's the right leverage here?
Sure.
Difficulty, I don't think it's high. I think difficulty is 3. Oh, you've nailed that already.
So 3 plus another 2 is a 5.
Wow, success with style. So we also have the bill with 2 free invokes is on the table. So we've got 3 free invokes ready for the negotiation to begin. And you can see Osira looks at Febernod, who kind of goes. Meanwhile, aboard the ship, there are indeed Pakleds, working to try to find the best way to get this stolen equipment as well as the dilithium off the ship. So what's the approach that we see? Let me start this time with Vassal.
733T, I believe that the Pakleds are struggling to gain access to the mining facility and its stores of dilithium. Perhaps we should assist. And he raises an eyebrow. Indeed. And I would like to. I don't know if there's a thing that I knew, but I would like to say that we have a pattern enhancer with us of some kind.
That's going to look a little odd as you wander down the corridor with it. But I'm very well, that in terms of
the Pakleds are trying to gain access to this room.
Yes, because they've beamed this bit of superstructure into their main cargo bay, but they don't have a simple way to get in there.
I'm with one of Starfleet's finest engineering officers.
Well, that's what I think. We're Pakleds. Let's go over and tell them we're from the engineering team, and we'll get into it, because the captain's disappointed that they haven't achieved the aim.
My understanding of Pakled culture is that we would be best to announce ourselves as the smartest Pakleds and the most suitable to do so, and that these Pakleds are simply incapable of performing their task.
Indeed, wise choice.
So who's going to do the convincing, or is this the commanding?
If we need to turn it into a command role, then I do that because I believe that, or if I was trying to position it as a, basically we're ostensibly and put on the surface transparently helping them gain access to it, and it's more
Indeed, you are.
engineering
Indeed, you
role and pushing forwards.
I think engineering will be doing the job. You need to convince them that you are who you say you are. But you're playing the strong pack-led hand, so I think command is in play. Difficulty would normally be, I think, 4, but the disguise, and so I think difficulty is 2.
Cool. Well, I have a 2 in command, so it can't go wrong. Let's see.
I think I should be able to assist.
You should, and you can. You can add another 1 to that.
There you go, Will.
Well, let me see if roll with me works on my phone.
3 command.
3 command. Okay.
So you're already at +1.
Yeah. Which one's the plus and which one's the negative again?
The red is plus. The first one is plus.
So +2 from that, plus the 1, we're at +3.
And
wow.
I'm at +2 on command as well. So
success with style.
That's even better because that allows us an advantage, I believe.
It does. It does. So not only do they kind of, oh, I see. Yes, you are. You must be the. And have you stripped off the suits, just by the by, or are you working in the suits?
No. Yeah.
I didn't hear. Got to.
We're working
in the suits. Fine.
We're quick through Hull on a pack-led clump ship. I believe that pack-leds probably habitually, based upon the dialogue before as well, I think that pack-leds are quite used to being ready to vacuum suit up, even though they can survive periods in vacuum.
And you get a boost out of that as well. And the boost is, in effect, they will help you.
Cool.
Yeah. So back to our negotiation table. You've got a couple of the bill and the comm station evidence to throw at them, Doctor. What's your opening statement?
I mean, I think my opening statement, I mean, if this were a real legal drama, I would save the star witness for last, but I'm going to go in strong. Because I'm not a lawyer, damn it. I will introduce the Manager Et-Rah, and I will show him the Federation's contract for the dilithium.
I signed that contract.
And do you believe there is any way that your agreement would have been superseded by anyone in your organization?
I never signed anything with that man. He points at the Pakled. Let's see how much impact that has on the arbitration clock, shall we?
Sure.
Currently, the difficulty of winning the arbitration is 8.
8.
Can you begin to reduce that? Can you damage that clock? So you're going to attack that clock with, it sounds like command, Doctor. Sounds like a strong opening hand you're playing here. Yeah?
Sounds like it. So I guess I'm just rolling with command and then applying. I'll see what I roll first, I guess. That's what Paul will tell me to do.
Indeed. And difficulty is 4.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a +2 on the dice, and command +2.
4?
Yeah.
You're even Stevens, 4 versus 4, but you have those 2 pieces of evidence to throw at them.
Yeah.
In terms of those advantages.
I'm not sure the comm station evidence is best used right now, because that would play against us, I believe.
It shows.
Do you want to? Do you want to consult with your co-counsel?
No, I think that's fair. We can save that to lean on wherever we need to. But I definitely think one of the bill ones you could use.
Yeah. So I guess the next kind of legal argument is that a legitimate pickup would not include ripping the entire facility out of its moorings. I mean, I'm not an
It's a
engineer,
strong
but that
argument.
seems,
So I think that goes from even Stevens to +2. So you do in effect 2 harm, and on the ship's log, I will now mark the arbitration clock. 2 down. So now 6 is the difficulty to win the argument. Back to the Pakled ship. You have the team of Pakleds working with you. What's 733T? What's the objective here? What are you working at?
Gain entrance to the dilithium store
Without damaging anything on the inside. I guess I'm curious whether you'd settle for just getting the dilithium, or are you looking to get the facility as well, the kind of storage structure.
I mean, is it actually worth anything? In all fairness, I know we've got a large bill for the said item, but it probably isn't worth. Yeah, I mean, we could just
this perhaps be our opportunity through, we've taken over this role, this access point, right? This could be our opportunity to not only gain access to the dilithium, but perhaps to in some way contrive to keep the remaining Pakleds out of the dilithium while we're leading it, in terms of...
yeah, I was thinking some kind of radiation leak.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Some sort of venting. I mean, in the easiest terms, get them out, contact ship, beam us up. We're right next to the lithium, beam the whole thing up into the cargo hold. That seems a slightly simplistic in the time frame. That would be a good thing to do. So, yeah.
Okay. So let's have you engineer, construct some safety problem. 733.
Give us difficulty.
Yeah. Engineering against a difficulty. You're trying to do this without them noticing. Difficulty's 4.
Okay.
I assist.
You have engineering.
I have 1 in engineering.
That's enough. So you're on 5, I think. Three versus 4 currently. You're at -1.
Let's spend a fate point. I got 3 of them. Actually, no. They can assist.
They have the boost. Yes.
Have a boost. You fools! What have you done? There is a radiation leak. This should not have happened.
And is the idea to get them out of the hold?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It is clearly my mistake. I must correct it. And if I die, that will be my punishment. And you royally ruined it. You will stay as well and die if need be.
And the other half dozen Pakleds scurry off out of the hold. So yeah, that went beautifully. You've engineered that. You have a boost going forward to keep them out if anything goes wrong. Yeah, because dials somewhere are flicking into the red. Let's cut back to the negotiation table. Dr. Koenig, what's your next line of attack?
I think Koenig should take the next hack at it.
I think it's if we could see the Pakled contracts and who signed and so on, and we could examine those.
You can, and I think that probably what you will discover is that they are apparently signed by Manager Et-Rah. I mean, digitally signed, obviously.
And then I'm going to be pulling up the logs and showing at the time of the communications that communication was made from this terminal, and we can see that Manager Et-Rah was in fact over in base complex 4 and could not have been in fact signing this. And I think I'm doing a full PowerPoint science presentation kind of thing here, overlaying maps and all of that.
attack their resistance. Their resistance raised at 5. Attack it with the logic. I think this is Symed. I think this is reasoned argument.
Okay.
What's the total there? +1 on the dice.
Yeah. What is the total there? Apparently, I've got my thing is locked.
Oh, right. It's 4 plus -3. You've got +1 on the dice. You've got science at 4, so that's 5 versus 5. You're on a tie. That's
I'm
not going to shift the dial.
Then this is the point at which, since it fits, I will spend the Et-Rah comm station 1.
Okay. That gets you. That does another 2 harm to their case. But soon, the Pakleds are going to make their case. So currently, difficulty is 4 to win this arbitration. Cut back to the brig, to the cargo ship, or the cargo hold. Vassal, 733T has got rid of the obstructing Pakleds. You have access to the superstructure, the storage dome that this dilithium was stored in.
I think that in Star Trek conventions, right, it's not as easy as just beam up all the dilithium that's next to you. It requires us to act like I pull out my tricorder and I have to scan each container to.
Let's see if the dilithium is in there.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Let's inspect it, but that's part of the thing, right? Inspecting it, tricorder out, expecting that I need to catalog it all so that the ship's
as time ticks on.
Find the dilithium.
Fine. Let's have you conduct a tricorder scan then, Vassal. This is typically science to interpret what the tricorder tells you, because it never tells you anything in simple language. Difficulty, I'm going to make the difficulty a mere 2.
That's good, because I only have a 1 in Symed.
But I can assist. We can triangulate.
You could.
Yeah. I'd love the idea of 733T, turns a dial and the red lights start flashing faster and harder, kind of thing, as we leave, just to be like, it was all for show anyways, And
I think that what you're trying to do here is to create an advantage to help you get the dilithium out.
Yeah, and the positioning that we can do it, basically,
Yeah. So let's have you.
That is a match.
So on a tie.
But you said it's a +2, isn't it? That it's needed to actually.
Yeah, you need to beat a 2.
3. I need to beat a 2. I'd like to invoke the Starfleet aspect of go with my gut. It's only logical. As Vassal, looks around the room, lots of unmarked containers and everything, right? And just goes for the one that he feels is the appropriate one. And I'll spend a fate point to get a +2 on that one. So now it's a match.
There it is.
Yes.
So yeah, you've identified that the relevant kind of containers, and these peculiarly, they're never square, they're never round, they're always slightly peculiarly shaped.
In fact, do I even need to do that now that I think about it? Because we've got the keep out boost, right? So that would give us a +2 to our next action, and then this time.
Well, do we want to keep out to keep them out?
That's what I thought. I thought narratively it made more sense to keep in your back pocket.
It's just me mechanically not understanding.
Back to the negotiations table, where there is this contract, and the Febinod is suitably, he apologizes profusely for the transporter accident that led to some of the superstructure around the storage getting lost. But it was simply that they were in a hurry to deliver. So I think you need to defend this. So I think this is a defend against I think he's attacking you with 3 here, Doctor, and I think you are lead counsel. So you need to defend with your command. So you are not rattled by this approach.
Okay.
So -1 on the dice.
-1, so that's +1 total.
Against
And you
his
said 3, right?
Yeah. So you need to find something to at least tie here.
Or could he take stress?
Well,
This is social combat.
that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Definitely social combat, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to take some psychological battering here, Doctor, to push yourself?
Stress resets. In fact,
At
in
the
the
end of
next
a scene.
scene.
Yeah.
Sure. I wonder if that is something like, he is being aggressively indignant and like pokes a finger at my chest and it goes through. And everyone who isn't Kinnick realizes that I am in fact a hologram.
And that's a shock for you to be revealed in that way. Fine. If you currently, one would get you a tie, which would mean that you still are going to lose out in the argument. You're going to need to get positive. So 2 stress will get you to the point where they don't make any impact on that arbitration clock.
Yeah, I think I'll take 2 stress and maybe now there's something like the subroutines mean I'm not really taking a physical form. I'm like a pure hologram right now.
Okay. Kinnick, what are you, because currently you are, you've eroded a lot of their. You are muted.
Mo.
I'm going through piece by piece by piece each statement that they've made to show exactly how it is in error, how the description they've used the term partial, they've used the term accident. I'm going through the scientific definition of all these things. I am showing them how each of these are statements. We know now, based on these readings, that this was not approved, that and so it was illegality, compounded by their theft of materials. I'm essentially running through the presentation again, doubling down.
I think that's not PsyMed now. I think that this is command. This is holding your nerve, because the Doctor has had a wobble. So I think you are now doing closing arguments.
Okay.
So I think it's command against a difficulty of 5.
Why is the 5?
Because I'm adding both their commands together. Because Osira is in on this, and you need to nail them both.
Can the doc assist him?
Yeah, I think I can give some guidance to give a +2 with the teamwork.
You can.
So let me roll.
So that turns that +1 command into +3.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Finally got to refresh this. Okay, let's see here. So that's 2.
It is. So versus 5, you're looking to find a 3 for a tie, a 4 to erode the argument.
Okay. So I'm going to spend the bill for the other 2.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to spend another a fate point to tag. You can reduce any problem to its pieces. So that takes us to a 5. And then I'm going to spend my last fate point because I am working with the Doctor. My buddy, the EMH, should take it up to a 7.
Oh, wow.
I think in terms of the bill, we also mentioned this is loss of future earnings for destruction of the facility.
Right. And until this gets, settled, we're going to have to suspend trade in this sector with the Orions, and that's going to be a whole mess and things. So that'll be a 7 So where does that take us to?
That adds another 2 to that clock. So now
How
the
much is-
difficulty.
How much is left on that clock?
There are 2 left on the
2.
clock.
So if our chief medical officer were to spend another fate point, could they get it up there?
Yeah,
They
yeah. I
could.
think. Do we think that that threat on trade with the Orions is kind of our leverage here? You know, the Orions must be expecting some kind of influx in Federation activity here due to our frontier war, or frontier not war. So I think, you know, I'm going to hammer on that insecurity of hers.
Spend the fate point, and Osiris says, I frankly, I've heard enough. Captain Fabadon, clearly there's some misunderstanding here. But you really must release the dilithium to the Montgomery. And Fabadon gets angry and storms out. And Osiris says, I'm so pleased we're able to settle that without any difficulties. Would you like to join me for a drink?
Unfortunately, the doctor cannot. And as a junior officer, I need to return him back to the ship. But thank you very much. I will mention your invitation to the captain, who I'm sure would like to speak with you further.
Very well. Let me take you back to our transporter pad.
Okay.
I will
just
glitch,
need to.
I will glitch out on demand.
Yeah. I will communicate like open on our like all the comms like to the ship and to 733T. They've cleared it that the dilithium and facility materials are our possession.
And Pakled captain is returning to his vessel.
Yes, Captain is returning to his vessel post haste.
Back on that Pakled vessel then, as she leads you, because she insists that she just shows you around a little bit, just to make sure that you carry away a positive view of Farius High Station. Vassal 733T. You know where it is. You have you've got an advantage on having fixed its location. Is this all about beaming it up?
No, this should be going to their engineering and organizing a warp core overload, so they have to leave promptly. That would be logical.
I mean, for what it's worth, I did wonder if you wanted to have a look at engineering, simply with reference to that
proton beam,
that Polaron power source. I mean, I don't want to force you that way.
I definitely think
you don't want to put a compel on the table.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's anything on either of you that I can compel to get you to do that.
Superior firepower. This is a advanced technology. It's a superior thing. 733T. Because I don't think it's Vassal who's interested in this.
I am happy to compel our operations officer with peace through superior firepower. I'd forgotten about that one.
Well, we need to have peace. We need to have superior firepower. So I definitely think we should, one, go and have a look at that, and two, make them leave very quickly.
Yeah. And that, have we established then that with that there it is aspect that the ship could lock onto the dilithium and transport it away out of command?
The ship will need to make a roll, or our ops officer will need to make a roll to get it. But it's in hand.
Yeah, cool. Then lead on 733T, I think.
I think we'll shuffle out of this cargo bay where the Pakleds are stood outside, and that's when we will burn the keep out boost and say to them, it cannot be fixed from here. We must go to engineering to fix the problem. It's full of radiation. We will expire soon.
I think that I'm going to put that on your command, Chief. So you can roll command, but I think you've got a boost in hand, so you're already at +3, and I think the difficulty here is 2.
And an assist as well.
Yeah, I must check the teamwork. I think it only works if you're lower than they are.
I see. Okay.
So go ahead, Paul. You got +3. That is a tie. So on a tie, fail or I offer you success at a minor narrative cost. The minor narrative cost is that the prototype hollow belt that you have, 733T, you just get that slight warning ting that its power supply, its power pack is reaching the end of its useful charge. So I'm going to tick that little box that says power cell discharged. So I'm just going to keep that narrative. Success at that cost? Has Paul gone very still?
I think we've lost Paul.
He looks very still.
Very deeply thinking about whether I should spend.
Yeah, he is.
Let's assume
I'm gonna leave that in place.
As he flickers, Vassal steps in front of, to block the eye line of it. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
He's literally, his hologram belt has frozen him. So back on the station, Keenik and Doctor, it does feel like it's taking a little while for this tour to get you back to the transporter pad. Keenik?
I am just playing it cool. I know, and I think I will be like, as we're going along, I'm playing it as cool as I can along with the Hollow Doctor, and every couple minutes confirming to the captain our status. We are here and we are making our way. That we are in process. We should be back soon, and making it clear that we are like in communication. And I will say, and have you heard back from Starfleet Command? I just want to know that you may, once we get back, you may want to tell them to delay the arrival of the I name a higher class ship.
What do you do when there's no response from the ship?
Ooh, interesting.
And that's our commercial break.
Yeah.
Shall we be back on the hour? Is 4 minutes long enough?
Sure.
Back on the break. So we pick up with Keenik realizing that your comms to the ship is now being blocked, actively interfered with. And 733T and Vassal are on their way towards the Pakled engineering deck. Yeah? Keenik? Doctor?
Well, Keenik might be playing it cool, but I'm a little glitchy, more so than usual.
Well, no, I tell you, what is that? What form does that glitchiness take?
I mean, I'm not my usual smooth self. I think I will kind of glitch in front of Osira and take her hand. And even though I'm not really corporeal, but I'm doing a quick medical exam, and I say to her, from your psychosomatic impulses right now, I would have to say that you are anxious about something.
I'm going to compel that not quite 100% holographic medical officer, if you'd like me to compel it, or would you like to spend a fate point to buy it off to actually make it more difficult to do that?
More difficult to do what?
To make that assessment of her.
Oh well, sorry, I'm not trying to make an actual medical assessment.
Oh,
I'm just going through
bluffing.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say, is there some place we could stop so that I can look at the calibrations of this, Commander?
Calibrations of what?
My companion.
Oh yes, I was quite.
Yes.
Shaky.
Just give me a minute. I'm going to move over to another spot and I am going to say, Doctor, I'm going to get you back to the ship. Okay.
Well, I think we should discern exactly what is going on with these piratical Orions.
I think that is. You're welcome to do that while I work on the other end of things. And I think I kind of get quiet because I am taking my tricorder and stuff apart while leaving the doctor to do whatever scans or things of the area to make a device to essentially punch through the signal so that the doctor can signal back to the ship.
Rocks into replicators.
Yeah. So I will bust my tricorder.
Fine. Just, channel all the power from that through to comms.
Yeah. But I want to wait till the doctor has had a chance to do whatever scans or communication he's going to do here. Like I think I don't say what I'm doing, but I think it's pretty clear to him what I'm getting ready to do,
I want to go back to 733T for a moment because comms comes through to you on the Pakled ship saying, we've lost comms with the away team on the station. We've got an option here, Lieutenant. Do we focus on getting the dilithium aboard or the crew?
People come first.
Fine, we'll work at that. So, Koenig, you're working on that. Rocks into replicator, once per session, destroy one to create another piece of equipment. Come back to me, Doctor, about what your line with Osira is.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to provoke her into admitting what they're up to and maybe thinking about the situation. If perhaps they've painted themselves into a corner, give them a way out.
Okay. That sounds like insight more than the other social skill of command. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think her command her resistance, her command is 3. So I think insight 3 on 3.
Okay. This doesn't look like it.
No. And by the way, you notice that a very hefty looking Orion male that you've not noticed previously is loitering nearby. Just by the by. So currently you're on -3.
Yeah, I think I'll take my licks, or at least hear what her response is.
I think that her response is it just washes over her. This has no impact on her at all. But it becomes clear. Currently, I'm at fail, and the GM says how things get complicated. Unless you've got a way to get that from -3 to a 0. Because I think I'm about to have a bodyguard intervene. The sense you get is she's done fencing.
Well, I guess if I look over at Koenig, what
success has Koenig had?
How far away from a solution is he?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah. I have built the object. I mean, that's a freebie, but now it's a question of with science, does it work, right?
Does it work? Indeed. So I think that difficulty would only be 2. The comms barrier they put up makes it 4.
Okay. So let's see what we get then. That is a 5.
Punched through, and there's a unless you want to do something else.
No, I transmit the doctor over to the ship and
Yeah.
burn out the hollow thing. Like, I destroy it so that they can't use it.
Okay. So there's no. I think all you have to do is to beam his little remote back to the ship.
Yeah, whatever we have to do. Yeah.
He goes with it. You're not leaving that behind. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, am I understanding that Koenig is staying behind?
I didn't think that was the case, but
if I can get out too, then I am getting out.
Because if that's the inkling I get, then I am.
No. If I can go, I'll go. I will take that.
Fine. No, I got from
I'm
Ops
kind of a
that
coward. So
I got from Ops that they wanted to focus on the crew, not the dilithium. So the dilithium is still in place, but you are being back to the ship. Meanwhile, 733T and Vassal, you are entering the engineering deck of the Pakled ship. 733T, I mean, it looks a lot like the original, base D5 battlecruiser that it's built on and around. But that's not a Klingon power plant.
Whose power plant is it?
Well, there are Pakleds, in engineering. What's the approach you're taking, Vassal, to kind of buy you some time to do the relevant scans that 733T needs to do to find that out?
Do we have any? We don't have any aspects on the board that we can use, do we, particularly here?
I don't think you have down here.
We could create some.
You could.
Create one. Yeah, which would be creating a advantage. Yes.
Yes.
Let's start with I know my way round engineering, or I know my way round any engineering.
Is that one of your moves? Yeah.
It's not a move. I'm creating an advantage.
Oh, yeah, cool.
That's what the advantage is going to be called.
I recognize this.
Yeah.
That does sound like an engineering advantage, which I think probably Vassal, you can teamwork on.
Yeah, which would be, as I posted in the chat there, it's whoever's got the highest skill level, the lead character rolls. I add +1 to that roll. So
that's right. So that is a whole 5 in engineering. The difficulty here is only 4. You've never actually inspected a D5 because, frankly, there are so few of them still in service. Difficulty is 4. You've got 5 to kick off with. Oh, wow. 4 on the dice.
I think that is awesome incarnate. I think that gives us 2 advantages, does it not?
It does. 1 advantage, 2 invokes. I know these engines, ... 2 free invokes. Back on the ship, Dr. Koenig. Back to the bridge, report to the captain.
Yeah. I think we're moving up to the bridge. I'm getting the doctor up there ASAP. Because he's still in that kind of portable form, so he can't, like, I assume, go through the ship like he would.
I think that would be good if you.
What do you think? What do you think, Donna? Does that work?
Yeah, I think like I am feeling a little bit constrained right now. I mean, like I've got to go to the.
Yeah. I'll get you to the bridge, and I'll get you to the port system.
Well, look, I tell you what, Chief Medical Officer, I will compel that not quite 100%, and offer you a fake point if you have to walk up there. You have to go the long way around.
The turbo lifts.
The insult of it.
Yeah. What a humanizing disgrace,
And that means you're still in the turbo lift when red alert is sounded. There we go. Red alert is sounded. Something's going on as that, narrative time stretches as you're in the turbo lift waiting to get to the bridge. 733T, we've got 2 invokes on I know these engines. I've set a clock at 4 for the Pakled Polaron power source. So attack that clock with your engineering skill and understanding.
So I think just find a spare terminal.
Yeah.
After looking reasonably masterful, walking onto the engineering floor plate, and just sort of like hacking, but engineering-y, sort of like trying to get it to shut down.
I mean, I was kind of hoping you might unleash the stunt.
What, interface implant?
I just wondered.
No, I was going to change that out at the end because, to be honest, tech will overcome any problem doesn't have any side effects. It's exactly the same. The stunt comes with a deficit.
Okay. So you're going to do this the old-fashioned way, the non-Borg way. Fine. So I think here difficulty is currently 4. Go ahead and attack that with engineering.
Oh,
so that's
minus
2 versus 4.
2. So
I know these engines gets you to a tie.
Yeah, a tie is only a narrative problem, isn't it?
Well, because you're attacking this problem, you get no stress, but you don't apply any stress to the problem, but you get a boost going forward. It just takes time now to understand what's going on with this Polaron power source.
No, I've got 4. I've got 4 fight points.
Teamwork of 1.
Booster.
There we go. Plus
so
1.
that gets you to +1.
Which I think is Vassal, just as a Pakled goes forward, like, step back. Do you know how big his hat is? And he crushes him forward backwards.
Do you want to burn a fate point, Paul, to get this to a 3?
So the more successes I have, the more that clock ticks away.
Yes.
Let's let's burn 2 fate points. Will that clear it?
So 1 fate point you want to burn for what?
Tech will overcome any problem.
It will indeed. So hang on, I will apply. There's 1 plus another 2. What's the second fate point you're going to burn?
Well, it's got to be peace through superior firepower. We need to achieve superior
you need
firepower,
to understand
and their
this.
weapon is good, so I need to remove it from the board.
Well, this is to understand it.
Okay.
Right? So now you have scans of this Polaron power source. You want to go somewhere else with a different question, like the weapon systems, or is the clock getting a little bit ticky here?
How full is the clock?
Well, you've just cleared. You've got a scan of the Polaron power source.
Oh,
what
okay.
you don't
So
have is any weapons data.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Sorry, no, that was both the fate points to get rid of it all.
Okay. I've still got 2. That's still good.
While you and Vassal are thinking about that, we cut back to Koenig and the Doctor stepping out of the turbolift onto the bridge. Both the Orion ships have powered up and are maneuvering. What do you do?
Apologies for the delay, Captain.
The delay. No, the hollow emitters on the bridge are fine. You are back to... You can remove that stress. New scene.
What
did you do over there, number 1? I have 2 Orion ships maneuvering.
Well, for some reason, the Orions have taken umbrage, albeit they have acknowledged or legal claim to the dilithium. So I'm not sure I understand exactly what they're trying to achieve.
I don't think they want to give it up. Koenig?
I think we need to get that dilithium and our crew onto this, back onto here ASAP. I think they're going to try to interfere with the transfer. So we need to do that before they realize that we've got the transfer in place.
We still have Vassal and T733T on board the Pakled ship, but I agree with your assessment. Koenig, take the op station.
Sorry, I'm not a tactical officer, but perhaps a spread of torpedoes would abuse them of their hostility.
So far, we've not left any damage behind us, Doc. I'd prefer to leave it that way. So, Koenig, there's a move down there on row 57 under the Chief of Operations called Comms and Transporters. Use comms to overcome 2+2 per situational aspect. I think it's 2 plus the fact that they still are interfering with the comms, albeit you managed to punch through. So difficulty is 4, using the Montgomery's comms of 3, I think.
Okay.
But there is a modifier below that. If engineering is equal to or less than ship's comms, -1 to the roll. What is your engineering?
My engineering is a 2.
Then it's going to be -1 on this roll.
Okay.
Lowell, would be worth if I speculate on a solution.
I like it.
+2 to create an advantage using science.
Fine. Let's have you do that. You need to do it this way, not that way, says the doctor. So let's have you.
I mean, everyone who's studied the literature knows that Orion shields are susceptible to this frequency.
So difficulty is still 4, but you're rolling with science, not med. So you're rolling with science 2.
Yeah, and
But
I have
you've
a
got the
+2 to
stunt.
create the advantage, yeah.
Exactly. So +4 to create the advantage. You're too
Not
short
so
of a
much.
tie. If you can find a way to get that to a tie, you could still get a boost you could hand over to Koenig.
Yeah, I think anything can be programmed for. I think maybe there is when Koenig took apart the tricorder to get an angle on the on punching us out. There was some data leakage, and I think perhaps we have a temporary crib on that shielding.
So everyone's in the wrong seat. Koenig is at engineering. The doctor is at science. And that gives you a single use of the advantage. Try this, or was that effect?
Okay.
Koenig?
No. 3 plus 5. Minus 3 plus 5 is I'm only at a 2.
2.
Is this to do the transport stuff?
To transport the dilithium, yeah.
And there's a free invoke left on. Here
there
it is. There it is.
Bingo.
Then I will use that. So that'll get me to a 4, which is a tie.
It is. On taking action, a tie will get you fail, or the GM may offer a minor narrative cost.
May I spend stress now?
Yes, of course you can.
Or teamwork? I don't know if Don's got
I think the doctor's already assisted me.
Yeah, the doctor studies bit. Yeah.
I would like to may I spend stress to do better here?
Yeah, to do better. Push yourself. Push yourself, Koenig. Damn it, Koenig, hurry up.
I'm doing it. I'm as fast as I can. I'm dancing as fast as I can. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
And in main cargo bay, as these various containers of dilithium begin to appear, this leaves Vassal and our chief of ops on the engineering deck of the Pakled ship. What are you doing, guys?
I'd like a bit of Star Trek gumph. I'm gonna or technobabble. I'm gonna inject a transphotonic virus into the subroutines of the photonic radiation beam thing to ruin it.
You were so good until you said thing.
Yeah, I ran out of technobabble.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, there is a technobabble sheet on the auxiliary craft tab for future reference. So no, go ahead. Let's see if you can do that. I think this is overcoming their security systems. This is pretty much on the hoof. So I think this is a difficulty of 5.
Okay.
Free invoke, and I know these engines.
Yeah, there's one.
I am in engineering.
You are in engineering, and you do know these engines.
I probably don't need it, though. That's an awesome roll.
that's 4 plus 3 is 7 versus 5. You're already on +2. And suddenly kind of as things begin to, lights begin to flash around engineering. What is it that frightens the Pakleds the most, Vassal? What do we see on screen
I think what frightens the Pakleds the most is as they storm towards this station, and I think they come from like a gantry that's behind. Vassal like intercepts one of them and gets in the way, and then they grab hold of 733T, and they go, "What are you doing?" And then they see behind the vac suit thing, they see the cyborg face of 733T, and one of them goes, "The Borg!" and collapses backwards. As
you beam out, I think you do.
Can I think you do. We beam out, and the vac suits just crumple to the floor, empty of like bodies,
empty of pretend Pakleds. Do we stay and fight these two Orions, or do we warp away with a mission complete as is? What's our judgment?
I mean, as satisfying as it would be to wipe the floor with these Orions, I believe our mission is to ensure that we can maintain the frontier, sir.
Nick, Eddie, you look like you were about to...
I think we should, since we have shields up, I think we should inform them that we have the dilithium, we have the materials, and if they wish to do this fight, they're not getting anything.
Oh, can it just be our captain says all of that and then says, "And it was a pleasure doing business," before we just the Monty like turns and flies off.
Basically. Engage, yeah. There we go.
Nice.
A job well done. Well done, Montgomery. So that I think is where our mission ends. Does anybody want any scenes? We got a little bit of time. If you wanted to have any wrap up scenes with one another, Vassal.
I would love to have one of the with. I think I need to have some sort of scene with Vassal's parents, right? Even if it's just some sort of calm, or as we dock with a Vulcan shuttlecraft or something like that.
Oh no, I've got plans for them.
You've got plans for them. Okay, then in which case, I think perhaps it is Vassal being informed that they will be staying on board the ship. Might be a good scene to have.
They are proceeding to, I think probably a formal dinner, at which Commander Prell is entertaining his guests with his senior officers present, and explaining to all sundry that yes, you will be accompanying us to Starbase 321. And he looks across the table at you. What Vassal? What's your part in that?
Steadily drinks his glass of Romulan ale, and then grabs Tavilik's glass from the one next to him and drinks that.
Okay. 733T. Do you want any scene?
I think it'd be nice to have a scene with Keenock in our quarters. What do you think, Lowell?
Yeah, I think maybe now that I've heard that the Vulcans are staying and we're going to be kind of packed up here and they're not this day, I probably am unpacking stuff and getting my workbench set up, and it's very much a miniature gamer's desk. If you imagine, there's all kinds of pieces and little objects and tools and things in little containers, and a little, I've got my little replicator to do my make things, and that's what I'm kind of setting up, and it's probably starting to spill out a little bit of that kind of what's my defined space in the room.
I think I'm reasonably cool with that, and I will be paying quite close attention to all this stuff you're unpacking. And I will say that while on board the Pakled ship, I was privy to a lot of information about their radiation generator. I think between the two of us, we could work on that and generate some ship upgrade.
If you've got any visual stuff or you can describe it, we can also build a model of it and then maybe figure out like who made it, like where they got it.
I am partially Borg, so that information is indeed digitally stored. I shall download that.
He's super excited. Like he's getting his 3D program. He's getting his CAD thing up. And
This could lead to great things for both of us.
yes, I hope so.
Doctor, what about you? Who do you want to have a scene with somebody?
I mean, I wonder if, Koenig is getting a lot of time on screen, but maybe in our 10 forward later on, we grab a moment together. And I think I'm going to say something like, for a moment there, Koenig, I was about to, when you punched through the shields for comms, to order one to beam up. I don't think I would have liked it if you had left yourself behind on my accord.
I'll admit a certain torn about that. In that, yes, I did not want to stay behind on the Orion ship. But on the other hand, Commander, you are a unique and valuable asset in an entirely different way.
What is it you think you are, Koenig?
I think I'm a lieutenant junior grade, sir.
A unique asset to the ship. And one which cannot be replicated.
I don't think you can be replicated either, sir, as you are now.
Well, I'm not 100% sure of that either.
That seems like a good place.
Oh,
to finish.
good line.
And just for a little bit of foreshadowing, I then would like simply to have a message coming through to 733T from Koenig, from science to engineering. And the message says, the energy profile of that power plant resembles some residue from the ruins of New Bajor. This may be Dominion technology. ... And that's where we roll credits.
Like it.
So a brief stars and wishes, if we're all right. In the order I can see you-ish. So Will, any stars, any wishes?
Stars all around. I felt like this was a really good episode of Star Trek with an A plot and a B plot, even though it was the same plot coming at it from two different sides.
Yeah.
I loved not getting bogged down in the Vassal family relationship, and I really am happy that you kept them on the ship. I'm happy to have all kinds of contrivances with that to keep them around or whatever. I did really enjoy that thing, and I think it helped me get a better grip on the characters' sort of background and relationship and stuff, I always love, I'm always going to love seeing 733T be a Borg machine, the Terminator, basically, and I enjoyed being able to play up the Pakleds. And I thought it was interesting to see the Doctor strain at the hologram, the limits of those subroutines as it was being ever extended into new areas, kind of thing. I really loved all of that. My wish, my wish would be to, I don't really have any wishes at the moment in terms of like plot things and stuff that I want to do. I'm confident that you've got ideas, Alan, and stuff like that. I'd love to have some ship-based stuff, challenges for me to do with that stuff. But I think mainly my big wish is probably my wish that's probably a little tiresome considering how often I say it in all of our games. But I would love to see more stress and consequences on the table. Especially given how Fate, whenever we played Fate, I feel like we never really get near the consequences and stress because you've got so many options to boost it up, right? But I would love to have more stress inflicted and more kind of that stuff going on, you know?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Paul, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I thought both Lowell and Donna in the courtroom scene really good, and I don't think we'd sort of considered social combat before. And when maybe we were trying to work out sort of what can the Doctor do, it's a hologram who probably doesn't phase people very often. I think that's a good way to look at it. That was an awesome scene, I thought, Donna, the whole courtroom thing. Lots of dice going down the range, lots of goodness delivered there. And you don't very often get to see social combat in Fate, even though it's in the rules. I don't think it's very common. So it was really good to see. Nice from Will, how he sort of came up with a infiltration mission, and the other thing I thought that was really nice. And I like the whole background scene with Lowell's character. I think to me, Alan, it was a bit of a session of two halves. First half, where hardly any dice were rolled and it felt a bit sluggish to me. That's just me personally. And then when loads of dice were going down the range, to me, the time went a lot quicker, and I thought it was a lot better session.
Yeah, fair point. Wishes, therefore?
Not necessarily just more dice, not necessarily more combat. I don't think it's a great game for combat Fate, really. But more dice, I think it adds badness, goodness, a lot more things.
Fair enough. Donna, any stars, any wishes?
I thought we got to see everyone's character kind of come a bit more alive today. Not just in the way we were split up for the different challenges, but the way we approached those challenges. So yeah, I got a much, not just on their characters, but on my own. I think we got a better handle on who everyone is this session. So yeah, and some nice moments of say Koenig with his best buddy, the hologram, which I love to see invoked, and the kind of awkwardness of that scene. Alan, I think you were just continually asking Will the exact same question, and like, but what's really happening? And that was fun. And I guess that final Borg reveal for Paul to scare the bejesus out of the Pakleds, good fun.
Good. Now you can't make next week, which
next week would have been my last session anyway, because I'm so it probably works out well because I would have only be getting the first kind of half of the episode, if you know what I mean. So
I suppose my question is, do you want the Doctor to loiter as an NPC, or do you want him to be transferred elsewhere?
I think you should have fun with him. Don't hold back on my account.
Fair enough. Okay. And finally, Lowell, any stars, any wishes?
So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Thought there were a lot of really good scenes. I do kind of like Fate combat, I think, more because I think there are some interesting tweaks to do on it. But it's one of those things that takes a while, like we did with the 2D20 game. It takes a while to get like what we're doing mechanically with it, how we can do stuff, how stress, consequences, and all those things can play in to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the scenes. I like having a chance. We had a couple of strong pairing scenes, for Koenig and the Doctor, Koenig and 733T. I actually the exchange with Visal at the dinner too was very classic, sort of dumb fun thing, or at the meeting, I guess. So I really like that. I think those are my just overall enjoyed the story. In terms of wishes, did we get an advance or something we were supposed to add
Well,
on?
at the end of every mission, you're going to get an advance. So come to that last. So you can apply a milestone right now. You will get a breakthrough every 2 missions.
Okay.
Yeah. So the milestone is what used to be in Fate Core a minor milestone, which
Okay.
is basically it's about shuffling what you've got rather than improving.
Okay.
After 2 missions, you'll get the breakthrough, which gives you a little bit more to play with.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah. In that case, I may let me ask this. Visal, are you going to want to take that command position then? Because you're the person with command 2.
I would be interested in doing so. I think.
Okay, so I won't. I was
ultimately,
thinking
I'm
if,
interested, you know.
if you weren't, I would swap the command. But I think that's I'll keep that there. I just want to check on that.
I mean, for what it's worth, I imagine that with the Doctor moving to be an NPC, somebody else will get the #1 slot.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I knew that, so I wanted to see whether Visal wanted it or not. I also, the only other wish I have is I'm really unsure about that collaboration stunt.
Right.
What it's supposed to do. And even if it's supposed to do the kind of like improve outcome, we never really read those things that way. We're just kind of stacking up the things.
Yeah.
So I think either that needs to be tweaked or I need to look at a different thing for that. But that's one I would point at.
I'm very happy if you want to have a tinker. If you want to make make me an offer I couldn't refuse, by all means, or swap it up for something else.
It is a bonus to a particular skill, but skills are pretty broad. Let me go and look. It may well be that it's just when you do it with science, you give a +3 rather than a +2 with a fate point spend.
As I read it, it does seem rather bland.
Yeah, I think that would work. But let me also take a look and see other examples. Okay, that's my only thought.
So yeah, you can, if you look at recovery advances, you can apply a milestone, which is about shuffling stuff about. Swap a stunt, purchase a new stunt by reducing refresh, rewrite one of your aspects except your high concept. So,
Okay.
if you want to try and broaden your aspect spread, or the way that if too many of them are overlapping, tinker. Okay. Fine. Well, I will now stop the recording.